Hell, Mohbad's matter is continuity, except for one thing. If the government agree to carry one person go Kirikiri, where is it heard that such matter like this has been lingering for years with a good evidence and Nigerian government to a face as if nothing happened? After listening to this latest update by Mohbad's justice seeker, now you go use your mouth talk hook by Mohbad. Guys, let's go there.
NDLA ló ní right láti arrest Mohbad àti gbogbo àwọn tó ń lo drugs nínú ilé yẹn. Okay, ìgbà tó ń arrest wọn Mohbad escape. Ìgbà tó di next day, wọ́n ní kó turn ara ẹ̀ in, ó dẹ̀ turn ara ẹ̀ in. Àwọn tó ní right láti arrest yẹn. Àwọn tó ní right láti fún wọn ní nǹkan mu làwọn Kẹ́mi Olúnlọ́yọ̀ tán bẹ̀bẹ̀ pẹ̀lú NDLA chairman kán má kó wọn lọ sí court láti prosecute.
Ìyá ìfọ̀ tí mo fẹ́ mọ̀ ní pé ta ló fún ní nǹkan mu ṣé àwọn NDLA yẹn náà ni àbí àwọn rehab center tó ń lò fún
rẹ̀? Alẹ́ kí n gbọ́ràn ní lórí kínní. Rehab center ló fún ní nǹkan mu nígbà tí Kẹ́mi Olúnlọ́yọ̀ ní pé kí wọ́n kó wọn lọ sí rehab instead of prosecution in court to ma stop music career wọn. They will never be able to tour outside the country or go any country, period. But when they rehab center...
Sorry, àwọn olóko wọn lọ sí rehab.
Má interrupt me. Emma interrupt me. Mo ń sọ̀rọ̀. Emma, I don't remember things easily anymore. I'm now 61 years old almost. Listen.
Alright.
When we now took them and gave them the option to do rehab, which is not something that's done. Mariwa was not happy. Okay, put one on court now. Go prosecute on call lock on Wale. It will be
But
chaos.
he must have found something suspicious on them before taking them to court.
Kilograms and kilograms of drugs was seized from the cars or seized from the house. I have everything. Money Bobo records now. They would have been really messed up. Naramali's label would have crashed. Everything would have after that. But they organized rehab for I call us rehab to my law. When they one treatment, all of them. Mohbad Nicolo to Salo and then go turn around, they turn around, but when they are rehab, she to no film here. You got to one system and off when now. Drug to low, yet as drug to Dino low. So one story if any con, but on 8 months later. Nigerians was a story then you come from Incomu. Only that or else it will not be detoxed. That was the agreement. And it was detoxed. Was it not detoxed? After he detoxed, did he not leave Naramali's label and started his own label until all this nonsense happened? And he went there simply to go and pick up the rest of his stuff and they beat him up. Do you see the sequence of events? That's why they call me investigative journalist. All I know for me pharmacy degree, 36 years. 36 years. Am I respect? Am I respecting you? My son said to me yesterday, Mommy, what if you were not a pharmacist? How would you be able to even decipher all these things? I've been clear about this all the time with you people. You cannot go to a detoxification area in drugs and think everybody's going to get the same drugs. And he filmed it. He was talking out of frustration. Okay? Can you please block somebody called Posh Kem Kem? Just block that person, or remove any. I'm reading your comments, Posh Kem Kem. We're going to remove you. This is nonsense. Are you people stupid? People say, yeah, but you say that drug abuse low palori daddy freeze. Kilo shele daddy freeze. September daddy freeze. Why you to see? Why you to see March ending 2025? Is that the same thing we're looking at now? Did we know things then that we didn't know then? That we didn't know now? I told you Mohbad died on the 11th. September 11, 9/11. And so for me, 12. You have a post sorry TikTok, I mean, Instagram, don't keep me. And she knew all along. Hypocrite of the greatest order. She knew all along. When Mohbad got to London, he was crying and begging Polo to file asylum. Polo no only file asylum for artists. Who only for Polo ni visa more? Lie. Polo is a promoter. This year Polo ni come artists while at Africa come play outside the country. Don't ba for one visa Polo ma appeal. In the end, one artist ni visa because Polo say assure embassy ko ma ko on pada wale. But don't bet Polo don't sukun London ko fe pada si Nigeria. There was something he was scared of. Somebody was trying to kill him. Polo ni I can't do that though. I can't. You can't away, the Olympic team, the Special Olympic team for Ghana, they went to do Special Olympics. Lori wheelchair, they vanished into Europe. Toba them as surface want to file asylum against country one. They don't want that. That's why when you're filing asylum, you don't open your mouth. You just go to the country you're going and file right there. At the end of the day, that's what happened with Mohbad. Follow them, they file asylum one. If you visa from artist, think about the bigger picture. He was scared of something. And then at the end of the day, he came back to Nigeria. But today Nigeria ton, ìjà bẹ̀rẹ̀ lórí visa tó mọ́, paternity ọmọ. Kí ló gbé Mohbad lọ sí river pẹ̀lú Liam? Kí ló gbé lọ sẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ river yẹn pẹ̀lú Liam? Tí Bella Shmurda lọ save Liam ni. Kí ló máa gbéyàn mentally láti lọ drown ọmọ ẹ̀ tó bá jẹ́ ọmọ ẹ̀ ní? Ọ̀rọ̀ paternity ti wà lórí kéèsì èmi ni mo dárò paternity sílẹ̀. Ẹ lọ ṣe DNA test kẹ́mẹ́ tó lọ mọ́. Tẹ bá ṣe DNA test tán gbogbo yín lórí gbogbo àwọn news media arise gbogbo yín all the news media were never.
and sorry secondly only very dark man ló dárò pàtàkì yẹn sílẹ̀ mo máa ń ní bẹ́ẹ̀
nílẹ̀. mo kọ́ ló dálẹ̀ èmi ni mo dálẹ̀ very dark.
ẹ bá àfòyìnbó sọ fún wọn.
Very Dark Man did not start the paternity stuff. It was me, and Very Dark Man took it off my platform. There's something called elevating platforms. If you have 1 million followers and you hear Kemi Olunloyo say something, you can.
So guys, listen to the DNA narrative. Okay, the DNA narrative is what she's about to substantiate now.
I tweeted about Mohbad's son's DNA. 3 days later, VDM took that tweet and changed it to his own speech. It's called elevation narratives in social media. We are the ones that powered social media. We are the pioneers of social media. If somebody has more followers than you, if somebody's carrying 1.5 million followers and you are carrying 500,000 followers and they hear you say something, many people are glued to my page and they use my information for content. I don't compete with anybody. I'm not VDM. VDM could be an activist. It could be anything it wants. I am an investigative journalist, among other things. VDM now took the information 3 days later and put it out there. So people will think he's the one that started it. VDM has only mentioned my name one time. And he said, if you are not satisfied with what Kemi Olunloyo is saying, then sue her. That's what he was saying to Karimo in the beginning. Because Karimo was saying that Kemi Olunloyo was saying, Karimo called my house. He called my phone number that they leaked in those days. And he called it and she cursed me out and all that. I recorded her. I mean, continue time to post it. I posted at the right time. She denied me, call me. Okay, and she refused to do an interview with me either. Okay, Karimo knows what happened. He's already said in her numerous videos. He fights on the top of the steps. The railing broke. A piece of the railing went into Mohbad's neck. His carotid artery busted. It's a soft case.
She's saying the truth. I'm telling you the truth. Kemi Olunloyo ni mo ti kọ́kọ́ gbọ́ nípa everything.
Even me myself, because now I was very early in the case then. I heard it from her first. Exactly.
Very dark man just jumped into it.
He popularized it.
Exactly. Popularized it.
Sister Kemi kọ́kọ́ sọ ni òun ló kọ́kọ́ sọ Sister Kemi ló kọ́kọ́ sọ. So very dark man ta ló mọ̀ kò lóye lọ́yọ̀. Kọ́kọ́ jump into the story.
Teba study very dark man àtàwọn videos ẹ̀ ẹ̀ notice pé gbogbo nǹkan tó máa ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa èmi ti sọ days before ó kàn máa ń popularize ẹ̀ ó dẹ̀ máa elevate ẹ̀ kò sí nǹkan tó wrong in that. Wọ́n ṣe gbọ́ mi ìdàpọ̀ sí nǹkan tó yẹ kẹ́ máa béèrè ni why come up with it. Nǹkan tó yẹ kí Nigerians máa béèrè ni pé why did Kemi Olunloyo start it? Because that is the.
No, I don't feel pay for him to have started it the first because he knew too much. So,
if it was Tiwa Savage or Davido that Koko buried, they would give it another narrative. There is a reason that Nigerians should be asking, let me say something. Matilda DW64, my name is Olunloyo, not Oluloyo. That's the Igbo spelling. Igbos cannot spell my name right. Olunloy.
Can I quickly ask a question?
Olunloyo is
please.
Yeah.
Okay, before you ask your question,
let her ask.
A very important question. There was somebody, no problem, I'm coordinating here. Someone want me to ask Dr. Olunloyo this question, that They want you to address the industrial gods. Wunmi said industrial gods don't want her to speak. Speak about what? Speak about the nurse killing her husband. If nurse truly killed her husband, how is the industrial god? I mean, doesn't want.
That would be my second. I will answer that second. Let me finish this one with the DNA. The DNA story started because, as an investigative journalist, that was the core of the case. What happened? I drew a timeline on what happened when they left the concert and how the whole thing unfolded with Liam involved. Liam was with them at the concert. On a normal basis, babies are not taken to concerts. You don't see Davido take any of his children to concerts at baby age, or, I mean, Davido has children that he doesn't want people to see their faces anyway. Let's use another example. Cardi B is someone I know personally. Cardi B does not take any of her babies to her concerts at all. Many stars in America and Canada will not take their babies to their concert. Okay, Nigerian artists, the same thing. They don't take their babies to their concert, but for some reason, the baby was at the concert. A concert that could have been very dangerous for the baby to be at, because they were wondering, they were protecting Mohbad, because that was his first official concert over there. Now, it was when I did my 3-hour interview with Prime Boy that I got more information. People don't know that I interviewed Prime Boy on TikTok Live for 3 hours. I have it. You can go to my Facebook page on the video section. That interview now added more to what I felt, because Prime Boy's bag was inside that car and he was left. Mohbad they punched moto. Mohbad punched the glass, punched the body of the motor. He had an injury in his hands. The injury in Mohbad's hand was in his fist. I hope everybody knows their body parts. The fist is your hand. You know, your hand grabbed into itself. Knuckles. Okay, he punched something with it, which is glass and the body of the car. The photograph that Owon had showed the media at the press conference looks like a fist injury. And we knew it was a fist, but Wunmi went on TVC and held up her elbows. It was just a little thing here. Fist, what he has, was elbows. We saw pictures of Wunmi. That's another light she had. But anyway, now, what happened with the bag? Okay, after the thing, they just drove off. Prime Boy had no ride, and he was stranded. That's when Cubana Chief Priest came to Prime Boy and said, it's okay, it is well, you know. It was really well. Because if not for Cubana Chief Priest, Tolo miss riding, he did not get to the house with them. So Cubana Chief Priest was an angel in disguise in giving Prime Boy the major alibi. Prime Boy has told me his own section of the story, and so has the other 4 in the house who spoke to me anonymously. There's a driver that drove them home now. He's spoken to me and others. And at the end of the day, they are listening and they're storing it into their brain. That's why God created the frontal lobe. BYU brain when the frontal lobe. Recording players pray. Tabati record it, tawa press play, tabafe recall it. Tibaja densi, Timoria opri to kiri mango. Ati watermelon níwájú lemi tí mo ra mango tí mo ra watermelon tí mo padà sínú lemi ṣé mi ò lè fojú inú rí. I can recollect her. I can recollect what I saw, the face I saw. That's the frontal lobe. So the driver had recorded everything he heard them talking about, and he can press play to play it and tell you. So unfortunately, some people don't know how the body works. So now, that being said, on Jankpa, 2 things, a Canadian visa and a lobby Liam, paternity Liam. Olola ti ṣe DNA test fún Liam. Oyari, ibi ló ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìjà nìyẹn, wọ́n bá drag ìjà wọnú ilé. The fight now went on top of his head. The fight got toxic. Ìwọ tó bá mọ Zomo, you will know that Zomo and all of them, gbogbo wọn gbogbo rújà tí Wunmi jà. Ìjà yẹn le. People, Nigerians, our leaders have suffered us enough. Who is that person there? Firefox, Washiri, cerebellum versus cerebrum. Those are parts of the brain. Go and learn the human body. You are carrying expensive phones. Everybody's carrying an expensive phone. If you sell your phone today, only feed you for 3 months. Use it. Google. See what these parts of the brains do. So at the end of the day, when when they now got to the house, and the fight got toxic, Wunmi and Mohbad have a history of toxic fight. These are what the snitches in the house told me. Go back to the cemetery. When Wunmi arrived with the scarf on her head, told her to do grave or quit. Go back to the cemetery and go and look at Wunmi's forehead. It has 4 bumps, swollen bumps. Mohbad no that they struggle. Mohbad struggles. Mohbad was stabbed in the neck and his carotid artery was busted. And when the carotid artery busts, then your neck is deflated like a balloon that they threw pin inside. And that's why Olorun shake her Olorun can shake her for you, but Olorun expose one. Because when I exhume Mohbad, Ibiori coffin ni liver tiwa. There's 2 ways of decomposition, rigor mortis and livor mortis, R-I-G-O-R and L-I-V-O-R. I'm a medical professional in Yomo, Nigeria.
First science.
Exactly. Livor mortis, ibitoti those are the end ones before you turn completely into water. But look at the head of the coffin. When they took Mohbad out, you could see blood and water on that side where they stabbed him. In the carotid arteries, that's what God used to punish them. Why was blood coming out of that section? That is it. I want forensics experts. You don't know. One protect Wunmi. Come on, man, boy. Come on. What is that? The second question here. What's the second question that you said? Somebody asked a question after there was a question, Paparano, there was a question you asked now. What's that question?
Industrial goods. Let me
tell you what it is. If you remember, Papariano, if you remember the tweets that I tweeted and I said people that must be excluded from Mohbad's case, I tweeted that in 2024, everybody that should be excluded in Mohbad's case, Naramali, Sam Larry, Ayobami. Musha list one. Nurse Nikon, okay. Lokumbe, ati one Ayobami. Okay. She you're not going to spending.
Yes.
Okay. I want to listen. So my tweet was vindicated. But however, this is what I told Nigerians. I said they have a plan. Okay, it's like Nigerians don't believe in Dr. Kemi. I said they have a plan. They're going to send Wunmi on a media tour. She's going to visit almost every TV and radio stations. A lot of the radio stations have declined to see her until the case is to the end. However, some TV stations will interview her, and when they interview her, she'll go there and lie and be the victim. 2 weeks after I said that, they saw the media. Hey, Mama vindicates me. What's to me? Mama vindicates me. I consent the what's account to me. Kenny Dr. Kemi, you are the best. Baba consent me 100K lano. Only everything you say come to pass. 2 weeks later, Wunmi was on a media tour and it started with the lowest of the food chain. You know what I mean by the lowest of the food chain? Today, ordinary NTA journalist kid that became a big one when he was big. One low podcast today first. Lẹ́yìn today, mo tó ń bọ̀ next TVC bá dé, wọ́n ya photo, wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀. Wunmi show wọ́n ní elbow pẹ̀lú little injury. He died 20 minutes in the hospital. Lẹ́yìn today, they went to BBC. Pidgin, Yoruba. Lẹ́yìn BBC, they went to Arise. Bigger. Nigerians were hailing me on Facebook. Vindicated. Hey, Joema vindicates me. Just send money and say thank you. I need the money. Me only recoup 10K to $9. At the end of the day, lẹ́yìn tó ṣe gbogbo interview tán mo wá post mo ní ẹ máa wòran àwọn stations kan ò gba Wunmi wọn fẹ́ bà reputations wọn jẹ́ ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá máa rántí yẹn you remember I was on Yomi Fabiyi's live right here on TikTok I said channels ò fẹ́ bà reputation wọn jẹ́ na best station in Africa ọmọ agbára nù until the case comes to the end when I went to Al Jazeera kí la Al Jazeera sọ fún mi Al Jazeera ni Dr. Kemi the only way ẹ jẹ́ bá ń post account number mi ẹnì kan fẹ́ fún mi 100K o. 025 if I can TikTok block 025-418-4770. Okay, at the end of the day, so basically I I now told people about the radio stations are not going to accept Wunmi. I was vindicated. How many radio stations interviewed Wunmi? None of them wanted her. And AIT stopped her. They didn't want her interview because they want to do what Al Jazeera wanted. Al Jazeera said they sent a statement to the police. International media will not interview anybody until the police has said the latest in the investigation. The police has nothing to say because there's no investigation. They didn't investigate anything. So at the end of the day, that's why we can't go on international media yet. Same with CNN and anybody else who wants interviewing us for Mohbad. So at the end of the day, the Dokwesi children, they're the ones running that whole show now at AIT and all. They didn't want anything to do with her on their station. And of course, the channels people and other stations that are there. So at the end of the day, the point of it boils to the fact that I know what's going on. I'm the only one that investigated it. And I said the industrial gods, there are no industrial gods. Okay. So what they want to do is this. I'll tell you how Mohbad's case is going to end because I've almost finished.
Yeah, that is the question. Finish it.
I'll tell you exactly
what is going to end all this, please.
This is how it's going to end. And I've had people come to me and cry and say, it must not end. Oh, please, help us. I've done my best. Why am I writing a book? There could be two reasons I'm writing a book. To make money. That's the only reason people write books. First reason is the money. But the real reason I'm writing that book is to put information out there for history's sake. This is the reason that you write books, history's sake, and you do videos, because once we are gone, in 40 years I won't be here. I'll be 100 years old. I might be here to 103 like my grandmother, but the fact is, journalism is a rough draft of history. If I don't write that book, because I was the only investigative journalist, or only journalist, as a matter of fact, that actually investigated the case, I want to ground my name in history, that I told the truth. And the third reason is because of Ayilara's email. DCP Ayilara, the head of homicide in Kwanzi, was promoted to CP in Akwa Ibom and died shortly after of prostate cancer. That's what we were told. But the email that Ayilara sent was very, very, very damaging. The email was to 3 people in the police force, 3 top cops. And the email was found inside his computer. People, try to watch TikTok videos about motivation. You would always say in 100 years, the cars we bought will not belong to us anymore. The house we bought will be living, somebody else will be living in there. Everything that Gojule will not even matter in 100 years. The year 2035, none of us will be here, including the newborn that was born last hour. We won't be here in 2035. But look at that. Look at that motivational video and now think about what happened with Ayilara's email. The computer, in that video, it says everything in your office will be cleared. Your relatives will bury you and they won't be crying after 2 months anymore. Everything in your office is emptied and somebody else will take your job and your position. When they were emptying Ayilara's office at Panti and Akwa Ibom, they found an email inside his email address. There's 2 emails everybody has. Dr. Kemi's private email and Dr. Kemi's business email. So Nigerian police email, somebody now sent me an email. Hi, Dr. Kemi, I'm a police officer, administrative. You don't know me. I'm getting ready to send you an email. Please do not mention my name. It's going to come from my email address. I don't exist. And what's this email about? The person I replied me about Mohbad's case. I work in Panti. I used to work with DCP Ayilara, who was promoted to Panti and he died. Okay, don't send it with your email. Send it with a fake email. Go to Gmail or Yahoo Mail and just open a generic email. Okay, she fake accounts. Fake accounts anywhere, but I know how to do them.
Sorry to interject again. It's been a while since my interjection. All right, okay. I was just going to ask some very... Okay.
No questions, no interjecting. Let me finish what I'm saying. Don't interject. Hey, I understand I'm 60 years old. My brain is so overwhelmed. So I told this officer, I said, send it with a fake email. The officer opened the Yahoo Mail and forwarded the email to me. Ayilara's email to the head bosses of police. Kemi Olunloyo, no doctor, just listen. Kemi Olunloyo is the journalist, best investigative. Let me pull it up. Hold on. Kemi Olunloyo is the best investigative journalist in Nigeria. She has possibly solved the Mohbad case.
We can't see. Is your camera on? We can't see. We can't see it.
No, I'm not showing anybody the email. I'm not posting it to anybody. It's going to be in my book. It's not free for all. Because if an email like that...
She's just reading it.
I'm just reading an email like that with Dabaru the internet. I don't want all that nonsense from the internet. Here you get. It's in my book. It's premium stuff. Kemi Olunloyo is... How many times do you see an email forwarded to you by a person in the police department of a dead person? The head of homicide that started the Mohbad case, who died. Okay, I won't say mysteriously, but I feel like that death was too soon. They moved him away from Banti. They promoted him to CP. And the whole thing was controversial. Yomi was the one that actually explained part of it to me because Owonha was the CP of Lagos State. And what they announced was that Owonha is retiring and going to the Interpol. But the real story that Yomi told me, he didn't retire. He went to the Interpol because he was fired for lying about his age. So somebody else had to become CP. So the fight in the internal departments of the Nigerian police, Elomin of CP. To satisfy Ilara, they now removed him from Panti and put him in CP of Akwa Ibom. 2 weeks after he got there, he died. Prostate cancer was announced to us. There are people out there who will say, no, it's suspicious. At the end of the day, this is an email he wrote his bosses and it came to me. It was forwarded to me. And it says, I'm possibly the best investigative journalist in Nigeria. She has solved the case. So with that being said, there was no investigation done. Solve case in September. Excuse me, I did it September 15th to the 30th of November 2023. Solve case in November 2023. And if you go to Twitter, just type my name and Wunmi's name. Wunmi killed Mohbad. Wunmi killed. I have tweeted about Wunmi killing Mohbad 25 times. Nobody has arrested me. Nobody has come for me. Nobody has interrogated me. Nobody has called for me. And I work with David. I said, David, I work with Ben Hondeng. I work with Femi Babafemi of NDLEA. I work with Top Cops and I work with DSS. That's all I have to say. Next question.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Sorry, when I interjected earlier, very quickly. When I interjected earlier, I was just going to ask who the industry gods are. It's fine. Who are the industry gods?
IT guy, that's the part I wanted to say. Tomorrow we'll meet. This is what they plan to do. Okay, the street gods, the industrial gods, okay, they want this, they want that. She's in an imaginary life, okay? She has what they call a multiple personality. Like, there's three of her. There's one part of her at bedtime at night at 11:55 p.m. That's the real Wunmi that will say, I'm the one that killed Mohbad. Then there's another part of her, the multiple personality that says, I didn't kill Mohbad. That's the TV version. And then there's a third part of her that watches everybody. This is a mental disorder called multiple personality disorders. However, there are no street gods. This is the way they want it to go. Her godfathers in the Senate, in the Monarchs, two senators, and one person in the presidency, her 5-man team who want her exonerated because her mother is a top cop. Her mother is a former top cop who has all the connections and who is behind all these politicians and all that. They want her exonerated and want her to be the victim. Wunmi is not going to be charged. She was not mentioned by the DPP as a suspect. This case has ended. And so what's going to happen is they're going to go through the stage of the courts and all that. When the inquest ends, the criminal case begins, and they're going to charge Ayobami and the nurse. And the person that called the nurse, and then when they charge them, they're going to end up prosecuting the nurse because she had no business working with those kind of drugs, with someone who's not involved, with those kind of drugs in a non-professional atmosphere. She did not have epinephrine to save Mohbad's life. Mohbad was at 5% of an iPhone. And if she had epinephrine, Mohbad would have reached 55 to 60%. And then they would have been able to transfer him to the hospital for proper treatment. There are no industry gods. People in the industries did not kill Mohbad, okay? There are no people in the music industry, movie industry, nothing. There are 2 senators, 2 kings, and 1 person in the presidency. It's a 5-member team and her mother. She knows what I'm saying. Wunmi walori life o de gbe fake account wole Okoropa ni money, we're investigators. Oh, Mokoti US Embassy Shiman in form. The new form for visas now, immigrant and non-immigrant visas. Have you been on social media for the last 6 months? What tobacco no, oh, but visa. Tobacco, yes, you must post all your fake accounts because they already know your fake accounts. So we know your fake accounts. I have that technology. I'm an investigative journalist. She's inside your life here, Papariano. There are no industry gods. What they're doing is they will prosecute the nurse for doing that unprofessional stuff. Okay? They will prosecute the nurse, okay? They will give Ayobami a prosecution, a lesser sentence for the prosecution. So what's going to happen in Nigerian legal terms, they will now give them a fine and they'll walk away. In other words, Kemi Olunloyo was convicted for manslaughter. She didn't plan it. Manslaughter is when you don't plan a murder and it happens. For manslaughter, administering medications without supervision, blah, 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 blah. She will receive 3 years in prison or a 10 million naira fine.